We're Tony and Chelsea Northrup, and we're in Morocco to test out the GoPro Fusion 360 camera.
This is the GoPro Fusion, a 360 camera that you can use in any type of video thanks to its incredible resolution and fantastic stabilization. And it has produced pretty amazing results. People have really been struck by it. And it has moved people in a way that I haven't seen with other types of cameras. And as far as capturing my life goes, it's the first camera I've ever used where I can use it to record my life without interfering with my life. And if you're a vlogger or a videographer or a photographer, and you know, your family probably gets annoyed with you when you're trying to film everything because it requires you to go back and you have to like set shots up and stuff. And with this one, I just kind of hold it out and I can go about my life and capture stuff. And then later, when it's a rainy day and I can just be on my computer, I can stitch the footage together and make some cool stories out of it. This ends the positive part of this review. So I'm gonna pull my list out now. Let's talk about the stuff that I hate about the Fusion. First, it's $700 for an action camera. Plus you have to buy 2 SD cards for it. Your hand always looks weird in all the footage. Sorry. The biggest problem is it's completely unserviceable. It has no housing that you can shoot through. The lenses don't have any cases. You can see it's rubberized. It looks like it's can take a beating and stuff. It can kind of go underwater, though they say not to use it underwater, and it won't stitch well underwater. Technically, it's submersible. I was in the Grand Canyon, cool place to be for this, right? So I set it up on its little tripod legs, and the wind caught it, and it fell over. Choo! And when it falls over, guess where it's gonna hit? The big protruding glass lens there. So it's all rubberized and stuff, but then it's got big glass elements. The most expensive and delicate part literally protrudes out. And that's what's gonna hit anytime you whack into anything. So how much does it cost to get that replaced? You don't get it replaced. You throw the whole camera away and you buy a new one. That's what the line is from GoPro. I contacted them. It is not a serviceable camera. Lenses are like fastened to the sensor or something. You cannot get a lens hood for it. You cannot get protective filters for it. They're just poking out there, waiting to scratch or bang against something. But it's an action camera, right? People are supposed to be strapping this to their helmets and going mountain biking or strapping it to their surfboards, but it's gonna whack into a tree or a rock or sand or something and get scratched, and then you throw it away and you get another one. So if you like action stuff and a $700 disposable camera sounds okay for you, the Fusion is perfect for you. Processing the 5.2K files produces great results, but it requires so much computing power. I took about 40 minutes of footage on a vacation to Morocco, decided I would try to process it on my laptop while I was traveling, and the footage took about 3 days to process. A 24-hour running 24/7, 3 days. So now the not fun part is the post-processing. You have to hook the GoPro up via USB-C to your computer and then browse it, and it imports them. And every time it imports them, it has to generate new previews. And for me, this is taking about 10 minutes every time. But you can see, look at the error here. It crashed again the last time I did it. This is my 6th attempt at rendering the 360 files. The first computer I tried this on, it didn't work at all. So this is the second computer, and this time it actually connected, but I'm now trying to render it for the 6th time, and I think I've gotten through 3 or 4 of like 30 video files that I took. So I don't know when I'm ever gonna get through this. I let it run overnight, and in that time, it finished 3.5 clips for about 10 minutes of footage. And I think I have like another 30 clips that it has to go through. I started this stitching on Wednesday afternoon, and it's Saturday morning now. And it's still going, but it's almost done. I put it into my wife's big old Alienware i9, brand new top end SSDs, M2, NVMEs, blah, blah, blah. And it takes about 6 minutes for every minute of footage. So what this means is you are not going to just turn it on and strap it to your surfboard and surf around for a couple of hours and then go through your footage later. That would be a post-processing nightmare. The way I ended up using it was I would start it up and record it for 10-second clips and then shut it back down again, because the post was such a nightmare. But that means that for most action cam purposes, it's probably pretty useless to you unless you can actually man it and you're actually actively recording just 10-second clips. If that sounds like the way you're shooting, then maybe it's okay. Oh, if you do try to record for a long time, it will overheat because of that waterproofing that I don't care about. That same waterproofing also makes the mic kind of unusable. What a pain, right?
Simple, fix and start with video.
Okay, as a guy who actually makes videos and takes pictures, it does not have a standard tripod mount. It has this stupid GoPro mount, which I realize if you're a GoPro user, maybe you already have some accessories for it, but guess what? Everybody in the world uses the same tripod mount. The one advantage is that it kind of tilts like that, except that if you tilt it like this, it will ruin every shot. It always has to be perpendicular, which means this ridiculous and cumbersome joint is completely useless. A tripod mount would be perfect here, GoPro, and wouldn't require me to carry an extra stick for my other cameras. The 2-button user interface on this is the worst user interface I've ever seen. If you've used previous GoPros that have this kind of terrible display and no touchscreen, then you've used the same interface. It's the same interface that has been around since the original digital hero, and it's terrible. There's 2 buttons on different sides and you work them to navigate a complex menu structure, and they both serve double duty. Like, this is the record button. If you hold it down for a long time, the camera will turn on and record. If it's already on, you can hold it down for a short time and then it will record. This is the power button and it goes through menus and stuff. If you hold it for a long time, it turns on. If you hold it for a short time, it switches modes. I know, you're perfect and you master all this muscle memory stuff and navigate incredibly complex menus. You use Linux and you're super smart, but I'm a human being and I don't master these weird binary style user interfaces that easily. And it caused me to screw it up a few times. A couple of times I was trying to turn it on or off or something, and I held the button down for maybe it was 3 seconds, and I needed to hold it down for 4 seconds. So you hold it down for 3 seconds and it changes modes. Then it switched out of video mode. And I kept using it thinking I was recording video, but actually I was recording time lapses, which means I simply didn't get the shot. That's why I don't have any video of the Grand Canyon, because it switched modes and I didn't even realize it. It's a terrible user interface, GoPro. Give me like a mode dial or something, maybe a non-waterproofed one with a usable user interface on it. Another reason it's super easy to not get shots on this is that there's no easy way to monitor your shots or review them. Now, obviously the little LCD screen there doesn't show you a 360 view of the world, nor can the camera stitch together a good 360 view. You can run Wi-Fi to it and do stuff on your phone, but that's kind of a pain, and the Wi-Fi completely crushes both the battery on this and on your phone. So pretty much you have to go through this long learning process of shooting with it and then getting back home and realize, oh, I held the camera too close to me, all my footage is ruined, or oh, it's better if I hold the camera down a little bit lower or a little bit higher, because there's no way to really see the results in real time. So definitely, if you do end up getting it, plan to spend some extra time figuring out how to use it. Let's talk about the software. The smartphone app works okay, and I was able to share some stuff on Instagram, but you can't easily set keyframes in it, so you can't do any fancy transitions or anything. I mean, you can technically do it by moving the phone around and such, but it came out pretty unprofessional. They have plugins for Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro, and those work great. Actually, after you've rendered it into 360 footage, those work spectacularly, and I didn't have any problems. I don't understand why, but after I installed the Fusion software, the GoPro VR player, which plays 360 videos, it keeps popping up and playing random videos when I edit them in Premiere. The effect is pretty cool though. And the Fusion Studio that you have to use it to process your footage, is complete garbage. As somebody who was a software developer for a long time, this is not beta software yet. Like, they're not to the beta stage yet. They're in the alpha stages. They're ready for some internal testing. They can share it with some people on the team and see what they think of it. But they definitely should not be shipping this to customers. And then they're calling it version 1.1. So they have a long way to go. Now, I talked to the GoPro people. I ran all this past them. They confirmed that all these issues are real, that they really do have some pretty buggy software, and they say they're working on it. And I'm rooting for GoPro. I want them to get out some quality, productive software, and I want to use this camera. I'll probably continue to use it, scratches on the lenses and everything, because it makes compelling results. But should you buy it? If you can afford a $700 disposable niche B cam and you don't mind the headaches of the post-processing, then yes, if you are a serious GoPro or if you are really compelled by the look of it, then go for it. But if $700 at all sounds like a lot to you on something that you might have to throw away if you bump against something, then you definitely should not. If you aren't ready for a lot of software pain in the ass, then definitely wait until they improve the software. If you don't have a big honking video production workstation, then you're definitely gonna hate the post-production, and this is not a camera that you should get. But I mean, I will say the Fusion software does amazing work when it produces it correctly. It's just it constantly crashes and is filled with all these bugs, and every time you reconnect it, it takes forever to generate all the previews and stuff. And I hope that'll get better, but what's not gonna get better is the processing time, because stitching together 5.2K footage and doing all that stabilization, it does a great job of it, but it's very math intensive. So it's always going to require a big computer until they release a future version of this, which might have some specialized computing gear in there. So I hope it's helpful. I know I probably didn't sell a lot of cameras for GoPro today, but I wish the company well. I hope they make it far enough to make another camera. I know things aren't looking great for GoPro at this point, but we're rooting for you. Subscribe to see camera reviews, and you can check out actual 360 sample footage in case you're interested in what it looks like as a 360 camera and you're one of the 12 people who straps on a VR headset and watches YouTube videos. Subscribe. Bye.